This is, always start with a finished product in mind. This is what I'm going to machine this time. I just finished this one. This is camphor wood. It's quite beautiful. It smells. It's got a strong aroma, but once you encapsulate it either in tongue oil or varnish, you lose the scent. All right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this. This is the dish shape. Okay? It's going to be sunken down in, and you buy the model with that in mind. There's 3 ways you can buy the model from Design and Make, and this is the dish, which is the one I usually buy. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to size it, put it on a piece of wood, and that's the next step. Make sure you know the size of the wood before you start. Starting a video on how to set a model on a piece of wood with a dished out shape. Now, the first one we're going to do, first thing we'll always have to do is find and select the wood that we're going to put it on. In this case, the wood is 12 by 32 and it's at 1.65 thick. It's almost 1 3/4 inches, but I planed it down a little bit. I work from the material surface, and then I'm going to go in the lower left corner for instead of the center, which I usually do. The reason I do that is this board is long enough that it won't fit on the machine. It's going to stick out the other end. So rather than cut it up, I'm going to actually let it hang over the edge and then machine it. So we're going to mount. That's how we start. Always start with board size and selecting it, knowing where to put your datum position, they call it. Lower left corner. What we've done is establish the size. You can see that it's 12 by 32 and a half. We're going to come down and go from our drawing tab right there to the modeling tab. When you do the modeling tab, it opens the structure up here. And what we're going to do is import a 3D model. How do we do that? Well, we click on this folder right here. You click on it, it opens this huge dialog box, which is a directory. I go to Documents, that's where I hide mine, and then I come down to Models. Down there. I click on Models, and what I'm going to do is look on my 3D models, which is another subfolder. In that, I have a bunch of different ones. Individual models I leave, and they sort automatically in alphabetical order. I want Praying Hands B. B means it's a dish shape. So I click on that, and it imports it. You can see it down here. The problem is, I don't know how big it is. So I go back to my drawing tab over here, and I click on this to size it. See it? It's in the Transform Objects submenu. I click on that, and that tells me how big it is. I know this board is 12 inches wide, and I like to leave 1 inch on either side, so I can make this 10 inches. So I type 10 in there, hit apply, and if you notice, this is height and width the same, so this is a perfect circle. Some are not. I hit apply, close it, and there it is. Now I need to center it. To do that, I'm going to go back up to this, look at the tools right here under Transform Objects, and this one says Align Selected Objects. That's still selected. I'm going to align left and right to the material. When I click that, let's see if it moves. Not much, just a little bit. Now I need to move it up. Click on it again and just move it up a little bit. Click right on it, and then I can use my keys to move it up. I want about a 1 inch off the bottom. Now, how do I know if I've got 1 inch off the bottom or 2 inches off the bottom, whatever I want? I can do that by coming up here at the top and grabbing the grid line and pulling it down. So if I can get it. I want to get out of it and move. Escape, come up to the top. There we go. See it coming down? And there's numbers on it to tell me where it is. I'm going to put this at 1.5 inches. Notice how the number on it's 1.5 inches? quite, inch 7.5. There's an inch and a half. When I release it, there's my guideline. So I have a guideline that's an inch and a half. I can click on this again and move it down. Because the dish itself just touches that line. Alright? And that's basically it. I can come up here and click on the 3D view, and it shows you the view. It's kind of conservative. I want to rotate it a little bit to start with. I'm going to make it like this. So you grab that handle and rotate it. I also want to change the height. So I go back to modeling, down there, click on the height component, which is the dome shape. And it allows me to set the exact height. It opens the dialog window. It's only a ½ inch. I'm going to make it a 1.1 inches. And then I'm going to look at it. Close this. Click on this. See, that makes it a little thicker. See the thickness of the hands? That looks good. So I'm going to come over here to my tool, pass, lock it in place by hitting that tab up there, do a rough. All this is already set up before. You watch my other videos. I'm using a 1/4 inch rough. It's at 90, plunge rate's 50, the pass is 0.125. It's supposed to be half the diameter. Step over is about half as well. That says okay. And I'll calculate it. Then I'll preview it. How can I get this bigger? I can scroll it, but how do I move it in the screen? Well, to do that, I need 2 hands. And I don't have 2 hands. You hit the control button. What you do to move it is you hit and hold the control button down and then click and drag, and that'll move that into the window. Now I'll preview the visible toolpath. There it is. That's what the rough looks like. You can work with that. Now I have to do the finish. So I'll close this, click on this icon for the finish. Again, the parameters are set up if you want to see them. Second to look at that. I use the 1mm tool because it's the cheapest. You can find these on eBay for about 20 bucks. In fact, I got 2 of them for 21 bucks one day. So they vary from $15 to $21. Make sure you get a 1/4 inch shank if you can. If you can't, then you're going to have to get a collet to match it. Mine's 6mm, and I have a 6mm collet fits into, and I found that I can get them cheaper that way. My feed rate's 150, my plunge rate's 80. I say okay. I'm using the raster versus offset. Offset looks like this, starts in the center and goes out, or it starts at the outside and comes in, depending on which way you want to do it. See it? I'm going to do the raster and say calculate. You'll see it takes a little time. As I stressed before, I have an older computer. It's about 5 or 6 years old, so it's slow. Now we'll preview it. Preview that visible toolpath. There it is. Alright. I'm going to reset that and slow it down so you can see it one more time. And then we'll go to the wood shop and cut. Preview all toolpaths. Roughing first. That's not fast enough. I'm going to put you to sleep. Speed it up. There we go. That was fast enough. Alright, see you in the lab. Almost forgot. Some people ask, what's the next step after I design it? Well, you have to save the file. And you click the save button up here. That says the cap file. The first one I save is always the roughing file. And I hit save. If you notice, it's not highlighted, even though I checked it. And you can click this one. See how it turns blue? And then hit save. But look here, make sure you got it set right. Save. Come over. And where am I going to save it? You have to save it on a flash drive. Otherwise you can't get it to your machine. Unless you're using a laptop. I use the touchpad. It's a lot more convenient. It keeps from ruining my laptop. Alright, so roughing file, where do I save it? I start a new folder. And I use new folder. Name it Praying Hands, which would be PH. I'll update that when I have more than one hand. And this roughing file, I like to tell the size of the bit. 1-4 RD for round over. Alright, hit save. Shouldn't take too long. Then you click on the next one. If it doesn't respond when you click, that means it's still saving. So click, see it? And the wheel goes around, round and round. Might cut this out, who knows? My stand-up comedy routine's a little rusty this morning. And the machine's a little slow. Click on that, this, turn the other one off. And it says finish toolpath. That's what I want. If I hit save, it automatically goes back to where you left off. That's my finish. I'm going to tell it what size bit, 1 millimeter. Just in case old timers sets in. Sometimes I forget. So it's nice to do it that way. I'll also update the title so that it says that it's the size of the one piece of wood I need, which is at least 12 by 12, actually 12 by 13. So when I get that done, then I can cut this off and machine on the rest of it. Alright, see you in the wood shop. Alright, I've got my 12 by 32 board mounted. And remember I said it's so long that it extends out the end. It comes out the end of the unit, which is fine. Because this is where I'm going to carve down here. This is going to be a 10-inch praying hand. I've selected this part for the hands and I've kind of drawn a circle where it's going to go. So these right here are going to be in the carving. I'm not sure what they'll look like when we get done, but that's the fun of wood carving. You know more. This is raw here, but it's going to stay that way. This is at the base. Right here, I moved it up 1.5 inches because of this. All right. Rather than waste that, I'll incorporate that in the piece of wood. So there is my start point. I have to change from my rough to my 1/4 inch round. This is a 1 millimeter bit, so I'm going to use that to center it and then change over bits and then start. So that's what I'm going to do next. By mounting it, if you notice what I did is I clamped it here way out of the work, over here way out of the work, and I moved this over the top of this to make sure it cleared it, and it does. Because if this hits this during production, it will make the machine fault and you'll ruin your piece of wood. So keep that in mind. Make sure you've got clearance over this kind of stuff so it doesn't hit it. All right? So make sure it's clear. And if you look, you can see that it just clears it. All right? Good enough. All right, I've changed the bit. You see I brought it back down to the surface so I can re-zero it. I can use my app for re-zeroing it, or I simply can come up here and tap on this one and say 0, set. And then it says, gives you a warning and you say okay. And see that re-zeros it without using a touch app, and it's pretty fast that way. So now I'm going to start it up and move it up a little bit. Start here, so you can run it. Come back up here, go to my USB port, and find it. And this one is praying hands. Remember I made it PH. There it is. Well, that's funky. Where'd they go? Sometimes I don't save my files. I made a mistake someplace. So now I'll have to take this back, go back, save my files again, and start anew. Alright, so now they're magically appeared. So I'm going to go to my roughing. If you look, it was created today, Saturday, May 16th. You look and make sure you've got what you got. It's a 12 by 32 inch and 0.65 thickness. Home position's lower left. So I just made a mistake. Remember, I'm used to centering it, so I centered it in the center. Shouldn't have done that. My home position, so I've got to go out of this and rehome it and then come back. So I'll do that and then we'll pick up. Now I centered it, yeah, that's what I was doing wrong. I re-zeroed it lower left corner. So that's where it is. That's all set. Now I can start it up and fire it up and go. And that's what I'll do. Turn on my router, go here. We're going to go to roughing and operate. Slow it down for the first pass, hit start.